What we got here in this box is a welder. Now, this is an online Amazon welder. This is not a Miller. This is not a Lincoln. All right. This is a RILAND. You see that right there? Where's it say it? RILAND. This is a model MIG 200T. It's a 3-in-1 processor. It's a microprocessor welder. I have a microprocessor MIG welder, which is a Miller, but the accessories for the Miller welder, if I want to use TIG welding with it, or possibly aluminum spool gun welding, the accessories are thousands of dollars. Whereas on this particular welder, I can get on Amazon, I can go to RILAND, and I can get a TIG welding outfit for under $60. I don't know much about it, I'm going to be honest with you. I briefly looked it over online, I saw it, the price was right. I read a little bit about it versus other welders, and this one here seemed to be the best buy at the time. And we're going to go ahead and open it up and do an unboxing of it and check it out.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Let's go ahead and get this thing out and take a look at it and see what we got. So once again, the brand on this is called RILAND. So what we got in the package here is we got a spool. This is our wire feed wheel, and it looks like it's for two sizes. You can see that. Very important to have that, definitely. We got two clamps here, and then we also got the user manual. And it also comes with a quick start guide right here. Here's all our connections for our welder, as you can see. And as we look at the front of it, you can see that it's very high tech, very nice, high quality action going on here. This welder here, now they actually make them where they're gasless, but I wanted one that I can hook up gas to, and this is it. So this is where we're going to hook our gas. Like I said, it's a 110 or 220. And the reason I say or 220 is because of this right here. It does come with a 220 converter cord that you plug into here, and then of course it converts over to 230 volt. I'm sorry, over to 230 volt. And it looks like it can hold a full-size spool. I'm going to go get one to see if we can actually put a full-size spool in here, 10-pound spool. So here's a full-size 10-pound spool of 035 wire. Let's go ahead and see if we can actually put that in here and use it. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't even know this, that you can actually put a full-size spool of wire in there. I thought you could only use those little small ones. Look at this. This is something else. Look at that. I can't believe this machine is designed to hold a full-size spool of wire. And if I'm looking at this wheel correctly, it looks like this actually goes down to 023 wire, 020 or 023 wire, which is another shocking and interesting situation. It does come with two spools. It came with this one here, and then it also comes with this one. You can see how big the grooves are on that. So for the wire that we got, we would actually take this out because this spool here is too little, and I'm sure the readings on this is in metric, so we'd have to go in our manual and figure it out. But we would take this off right here and then remove this spool like that. You can see that the grooves are smaller, and then as we look at both wheels at the same time, you can see that the grooves are, this one over here is smaller, and then they get bigger as they go this way. So since this is 035 wire, I'm presuming that the 035 is going to be our big one, and we're going to go ahead and line that up so we can use that in the machine. And then now we can go ahead and feed our wire into the wheel, set our lock. You can see it's got a gauge just like any other professional. That's our tension lock right there. We're going to set that once we get the wire in. And then once we get all this hooked up, this thing's ready to use. Okay, we got some different various size metals here. We're going to see how this thing works. One more thing that is unusual about this, it doesn't have a setting for the wire size. Okay, whereas the Miller actually has, if you got 30 gauge wire, 32 or 23, you can actually set that at that, and then the settings are automatic. So on this one, it is a manual welder. It is not a welder that has automatic settings, even though it does have 6 welders in it. I just want to make you understand that. So we're going to ground this table off right here, and hopefully that'll work. We're going to turn the welder on. I do have the gas hooked up. We're going to put it on MIG mix. Now we got it on, it says 17.3 volts at 193. We're going to go ahead and turn this up a little bit because that's a very low setting. We're going to go 18 and 330. This automatically sets, whereas on my other welder that I have, my Miller-Matic 250, you have to set each knob separately, okay? So this one here, all you got to do is turn one knob and it automatically sets everything. Now I got it on 4T, so we're going to see if this automatic welding actually works. Okay. All right, I hear the gas coming out. So we're going to go ahead and set this on 18. I always go by the volts. So I'm going to set it on 18 volts. That's usually what I would use, somewhere in that range. But you know what? We're going to go ahead. It only goes up to 19.2 volts. So if that's the highest, we're going to go down here to 18 and see what happens. And then I got 2 pieces of metal right here, and I'm going to go ahead and weld these together. And these are, I would say, I don't know if these are 1/8 inch or not, but they're close. So we're going to go ahead and weld that. And I actually got some sheet metal here. I want to see how it works on the sheet metal. So let's go ahead and do a little welding right here. Okay, it was continuously welding, but the problem that we have is that the voltage is not getting up where we want it to be. So either I'm doing something wrong or it's not functioning properly. Let's go ahead and see if we can, yeah, we can't even do anything with this knob here. Let's go ahead and go to 2T. And it only goes up to 19.2 volts. Let's go to 2T again. Okay, let's hit it on 2T and then see where we're at. And it still does the same thing. So let's go to this right here. Now we can actually, okay, now it goes to a percentage and it's back to the 2 volts again. And okay, so I'm using 30 gauge wire. We're on 2T now. Let's see what it does on a 2T where you literally have to hold the trigger. Okay, so what's happening here is the speed is way too fast. let's go ahead and bump it down because I'm trying to get used to this and trying to figure out how to use it. Okay, the speed is still way too fast. So I don't understand what's going on here. So the penetration on the MIG welder itself is not working properly. And now we're all the way down to the slowest it'll go. We're just going to fuck with it and see. And same thing, it's not welding properly. So we're going to put it on the mag weld and see what happens with that. Okay, once again, the speed of, okay, percentage. Let's try it there. Okay, that's not right. Let's go to percentage again. We're going to bump it as high as we can go. We'll go all the way up on the percentage. Okay, and the wire's going way too fast. Let's bring it down. Okay, it's still going really fast. Okay, let's bring it down there. Okay, that sounds about right, but the problem we have is this percentage is not kicking in like we want it. Let's go ahead and bump this all the way up. Now remember, we're using 32 gauge wire here. Okay, the percentage, we're not getting good penetration here, people. It's not working out properly. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong here or what's going on. Let's bump it up to speed, but what's going to happen when we bump that up, it's also going to bump up. It won't. Okay, let's try that and see what happens on this. I don't even want to weld that due to the fact that, yeah, something's going on here. Okay, let me go ahead and try this. And the penetration is not, it's not there, guys. I don't understand what the deal is here. We got the voltage up. I mean, let's turn the percentage way down like this. Let's just go to the minus, and now we'll go up and see what happens. And that even made it worse. I don't know if you can see that, but I can't even keep the MIG welder on the... So that's even worse than... We're going to push that in again and set it up. Now, we'll turn that up all the way as high as it'll go to 30. Let's go ahead and try it now. Okay, so that's not doing anything. Let's move it up. And that kind of half-ass welded, but it really didn't penetrate like we wanted it to. Let's go all the way up and see what happens. Okay, so now we're at that. Okay, let's do this. We'll go ahead and turn it over and start over. Okay, the speed is way too fast. If we can control these separately, it would work a lot better. Yeah, it's still going too fast. Let's go ahead and do it here. Okay, I don't like MIG weld. I'm not even going to weld these. We're not welding those. Let's do this. Let's get the sheet metal out and try some sheet metal action. So I got the setting on, I don't know what I got it on, but we're going to try it. Let's just go ahead and go for it. Get up here and see what happens. Okay, well, it did weld it, but I don't know if we had it. We didn't have it on the lowest setting, but let's go ahead and bump the setting up a little bit and see if it welds even better. I don't know. I just really don't. Okay, the speed's way too fast. Way too fast for what we're trying to do. Okay, yeah. Sure, yeah. Okay, there you go. Wow. All right. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and reach over here, and I'm turning the gas off on this. And I'm going to give you my opinion on this thing. I don't know if you're going to like it. I don't know if the company's going to like it, but this is not the best welder in the world. I'm sorry, it's not functioning properly, it's not working right. I can't figure out how this action works. If you can do this manually, it would be a lot better. But I mean, I'm confused is what I am. And that's the situation you have with this type of stuff, is that, you know, it's not self-explanatory. You got to mess with it, you got to jerk around with it, you got to jack off on it, and hopefully it'll work. Another thing is what about these tips, okay? Where are we going to buy the tips for this? Are the Miller tips going to fit on here to work? We got this nozzle that is very inexpensive as well, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to say take the risk. That's going to be my opinion on this. It's a sad deal, but yeah, I'm not really happy with it, and too complicated. Okay, we're back with this welder. I've actually kind of messed around with it. Now, this button right here, if you watch real close, you can see it. You push it once and it comes up with the arc setting. So you got to set, okay, push it in, and then you got to set your arc setting percentage. So I have it set at 20, which the highest percentage is 30. We're going to go to 20. Now I'm using 032 wire, and then if you push it again, then it comes up with the induction. And okay, so you got to be quick at it, and then you can set your induction. So we're going to set those both at 20%. Now what is arc and induction? I don't know. I don't know what that is. And the reason I don't know what that is because the machines I have automatically do that. They don't have to set manually, so you have to set those manually, and then once that's set, then you can come over here and you do your speed, and then it will put it at the perimeter of speed depending on your arc and induction settings. So we got it set at 20. Let's go ahead and try this out here. Now remember, this machine costs $260, people. $260. So let's go ahead, and I've already done a test weld. It actually welded a lot better after I set my induction and arc setting. So I set it at 20, and now we are actually, our machine says that we're at 21.8 volts, and the wire speed is 311. The highest on this particular setting with our arc and induction settings is going to be 23 volts at 354. So we're going to bring it down back to 21.7 and see what it does at that. and hopefully, cross our fingers, something's going to happen here, and it'll weld. That actually welded a lot better, setting the induction and the, let me go ahead and get that up and you can see that's a lot better weld. So, can you see that right there? That's a lot better weld than when we first turned the machine on and started just playing around with it. So, we found out, now once again, all I have is MIG welder going on here. I don't have a TIG welder, a spool gun, or none of that, and it does not, this machine does not come with the arc welding attachment, which I thought was kind of unusual. So let's go ahead and take our sheet metal once again, and I'm just going to bend that over, and we'll turn the heat down a little bit on this one. We're going to go down to, let's go to 20. Let's go to 20, and then our water speed will be, let's go up to 20.7 on this, and our wire speed is at 193. So the wire speed is going to be slower, but then on the other hand, the metal on this is a little thicker, so I don't know if I'm doing this right. Let's go ahead and, okay. The wire speed is too slow. Let me get that off. I bumped that. Okay, that's why I got this here, because what we're looking at here, people, let me go ahead and explain this to you. Let's go ahead and do this in short. What we're looking at here, people, is we're looking at a machine that costs $260, and it's going to take a little jerry-rigging around, a little jacking off, a little playing around with it and figuring out the machine, reading the manual, and getting it properly functioned. I got my speed too low now. On sheet metal, I might have to go back in and adjust this, the arc and induction. We might have to redo that, but if we turn the speed up, that's going to turn the voltage up. So let's go ahead and let's weld that. So I turned the speed up because the speed was too low and it was actually melting the sheet metal. Let's go ahead and do a little test again. And okay, so it's melting the sheet metal. So what that's telling me is now we would have to go in and adjust our arc, and I'm going to go down to 12 on that. Now we're going to leave the speed at the same. You can see that the voltage dropped. Let's go ahead and try it now and see what happens. I'll just do it right here. And that sounds a lot better. You can hear the popping, and it welded a lot better. So you have to, every time you use this, you have to, for different metal thicknesses, you would have to go in and adjust your arc and induction settings on it to use it. So my overall experience with it is it takes a while to get used to it, whereas the Miller welder, the $1,800 welder, it's a plug and play situation. The machine does everything. You have to go in there and actually figure out the manual settings that you need to know to set it. And when I say that, I'm talking about a quick press, a set of this here, and a set of this here. We're going to go down. Let's go down to 6 on both of these and see what happens. Okay, so I set it at 6, but I'm going to leave the speed here, and let's see what happens now when I weld the sheet metal. And that even worked better, to be honest with you. So learning the machine is very important. Once you learn the machine, I'm really starting to get used to this, and you can see, look right there, all right? So learning the machine is important, and knowing the settings that you need to know. The only way that you're going to do that with this machine is get out some scrap iron steel, start welding and writing down the numbers and figures of what you need to know on your arc and induction setting. That's pretty much the main settings on this. If I was going to look at it as I'm going to use this for my overall welder, I'm going to need to know what my induction and arc settings are to actually use the welder for the different, you got it, yeah, the different thicknesses. This is not a plug and play. I said that 4 times, I'm not going to say it again. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete. One thing I do like is if you're out in the field possibly working and you got this hooked up to a generator and you got to weld a pipe up and you need to hold that pipe and you want to hold the welder and you can't get the trigger, you can't hold the trigger, but you got to come over here. Do you see what I'm saying? You got that 4T setting where it's a continuous weld until you hit the trigger again. That's pretty unique. I've never seen that before. Overall, for the money, $260 free shipping. I believe this machine's worth the money, but you got to learn how to use it. You got to sit down, you got to have patience like I just did, and figure out, okay, like here's our setting that we were using for, do you see that? That arc induction setting. That's when we were welding the big thick metal, okay? And you can see from when I first turned it on to actually sitting down and playing with the arc induction setting, you can see that the welds look 10 times better. But on the arc induction setting for this metal, will not work. You see what happened here. So I had to go back in there and adjust it for that. One more thing I do want to say about the RILAND welder before I go is that's 32 gauge wire in there, and I welded sheet metal with it. This is 18 gauge sheet metal, and once I got the arc and induction settings where I wanted them, it didn't melt through or burn through. So a lot of times when you take your welder and you go, if you have thick wire and you try to weld sheet metal, it doesn't work. You got to go down to 023 wire for sheet metal. So that's something I did like. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete, looking at the RILAND welder, doing a review on it and saying that it is worth 260 bucks. And if I can find the TIG tools that I need to make this thing work, it'll make it even a better deal. Take it easy, my friend Pete, your friend Pete, doing reviews and telling you that sometimes it takes a little bit of practice and knowledge to make it work, but once you figure it out, it works great. Take it easy.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.